So did Robert Kiyosaki say owning your home is an asset or liability? Could that be the biggest asset mistake? What about investing in asset bubbles? Well, Robert Kiyosaki tells us that assets put money in our pocket, and so he's often quoted as saying that since buying your home takes money out of your pocket, it's a liability. And that's just one of the many points that confused me like crazy when I first read it. And it even got me worried that I'd made a big financial blunder by owning my home. Now, even finance gurus like Dave Ramsey and Ramit Sethi take completely different views, and judging by the questions I got asked over the years when students first come to us, it's something that still gets a lot of people thoroughly confused. But if you want to avoid the biggest asset mistake, then the first thing you need to do is to understand, in wealth creation terms, what an asset actually is. And we'll be covering that in today's video. Only then can you properly start to accumulate good assets, and that's the key to building wealth and consistent passive income streams that will give you the wealth and financial independence that Robert Kiyosaki talks about and enable you to live the life of your dreams, your purpose, and to retire well and with complete peace of mind. Now, we'll also be exploring the dark side of assets, asset bubbles, which have single-handedly destroyed more bank accounts and lives than anything else I know. And I'll share something from 2008, which made me, to this day, empathically hate asset bubbles. And no, it's nothing to do with me losing money. And stick around till the end, where I'll share the investing criteria that's helped our students get financially free through asset ownership and the income it creates, and at the same time, how they manage to use that same methodology to avoid those deadly asset bubbles. And finally, I'll tell you what the biggest asset mistake is, and hint, it's not asset bubbles. So if you're ready, let's do this. Mastery not required. Now, in case we've not met, my name's Tim Loh, and I teach people to create multiple income streams with their purpose instead of mastery so that they can live purposeful, meaningful lives. Now, it's a rainy December back in 1998 when I first read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm in my second year as a lawyer then, and I'm doing my annual in-camp training. And in case you didn't know, in Singapore, we have military conscription. So I served as a conscripted soldier for 2.5 years before I went to university. Now, after that, we get a couple of weeks off work every year until we get too old to be soldiers, just like I am now. And in those couple of weeks, we get to play soldier. Now, being a stressed out lawyer, this is a welcome break. Right, put on a camo uniform, catch up with some old friends, get some exercise, and I always pack a book. But this time, I didn't get to read the book I brought because a friend in camp, right, he comes up to me and he tells me, "Hey Tim, lawyers exchange their time for money, right? Now there's a better way and I can't explain it as well as this book." Then he passes me a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he says, "This is for you. Now, I know this will help you. Read it over the next few days and we'll talk again." As it turns out, he's recruiting for an MLM. And if memory serves me right, it was Herbalife, but that was back in 1998. So Andrew, if you're watching this, forgive me if I got the wrong one. Right, and anyway, back to the story. He was trying to convince me that I shouldn't stay in a job and to get into MLMs. Right, and to cut a long story short, he didn't succeed and I went on to be a lawyer for another 18 years. Now, be that as it may, I'll always be grateful for that introduction to Robert Kiyosaki, because that completely changed my life and the way I look at money. Now, over the years, a lot of direct sales recruiters for insurance companies and other MLMs used Robert Kiyosaki's books, right, like the Cash Flow Quadrant, as recruitment tools. And that's led to the misconception that Robert Kiyosaki said that one should never be in a job. And that's simply not true. He never said that. And I'll get to that in another episode. Now, Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a great book, but there's so much misinterpretation, so many Chinese whispers from people who haven't actually read it. And let's be honest, some of the stuff is great advice. In fact, it's fantastic advice, but it's really hard to apply. Now, recently, something happened that made me think I need to do a video series on Robert Kiyosaki's teachings and make it publicly and freely available on YouTube or podcasts or wherever you're catching this from so that it can help as many people as possible. And so, here we are. Now, I can't remember how many times I've read the book, but I read it a lot because I remember thinking to myself, great content, but how do I specifically apply this? So maybe I should just read it again. And all of that must have really sunk in because a student of mine left a review on our course, and this is what he said. While Tim Low doesn't directly draw from Kiyosaki's teachings, his course brilliantly guides you through the implementation of those very principles. It's as if he seamlessly continues where Kiyosaki leaves off. Well, high praise indeed. It was when I read this review that I thought, wow, this book's really impacted my life in a massive way. I didn't even realize it. And that, my friend, was the trigger for this series. And so I read Rich Dad Poor Dad again, and I pieced what Robert Kiyosaki taught together with what I've been teaching our students. So if you find this type of content helpful, then like this video so YouTube will share this with a lot more people. And so I'll know I should continue making more of these videos, and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the next lessons when they come up. Now, before we can accumulate assets and build our wealth and income, we need to know what an asset actually is. And for that first step, a great starting point is to look at the accounting definition of an asset. Now, in accounting, an asset is defined as a resource with economic value that's owned or controlled by a person or a company with the expectation that it'll provide a future benefit. And so let's apply that to the question at the start of this video. Is owning your home an asset? Could that be the biggest asset mistake? Well, lots of people think owning your home will provide a future benefit because of things like home prices going up, plus you have the security of living there. So it does fit into the definition provided by the accountants. Now, Robert Kiyosaki's definition is a lot simpler. If it puts money in your pocket, it's an asset. If it takes money out of your pocket, it's a liability. Now, following Robert Kiyosaki's definition, owning a home takes money out of your pocket, and so it's a liability. He also says that the rich buy assets and the poor buy liabilities. And this has been the basis of a lot of people saying that Robert Kiyosaki says, don't own your home. Now, as we observed at the beginning, various gurus have differing views on this. From Dave Ramsey on the one hand to Ramit Sethi on the other end of the spectrum, who doesn't believe in home ownership. But this video isn't about home ownership, it's about assets. And how if you really understand assets, then you'll never have to rely on a guru or someone on the internet like me telling you if buying a home is a good idea or not. Now, whenever I teach something, I value giving you what I call a deep understanding. So you'll understand for yourself and you'll be able to make up your own mind, okay? Now, what really helps our students get out of that confusion of is this an asset or not? Because most of them, after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, say, I only want to buy assets and not accidentally buy a liability. And what I found really helps them is drawing a distinction between two types of assets: income-producing assets and speculative assets. Now, at Purpose Tree, we teach that they're both assets. The difference that income-producing assets, or IPAs, right, not the beer, mind you, produce income, but speculative assets don't. Now, in Robert Kiyosaki's definition of an asset, something that puts money in your pocket, only income-producing assets are considered assets. And this is the source of the confusion, because he refers to home ownership as a liability, which in his definition is correct, because he defines a liability as something that takes money out of your pocket. Now let's look at that accounting definition again. An asset is a resource with economic value that's owned with the expectation it'll provide a future benefit. So if your home can be sold in the future for more money than you paid for it, then it nicely falls into the accounting definition of an asset. And that's why most people believe that owning a home is an asset. Now, I personally believe in home ownership. I own my home. We live in inflationary times, and I believe that one of the best ways we not only hedge against inflation, but benefit from it is by owning assets, whether they're income producing or speculative assets, as long as they're good assets. Now, I'll get to that in a moment, but home ownership isn't for everyone. And at Purpose Tree, we believe that your choices must reflect your purpose and lead you to your purpose. Now, especially when it comes to financial and investment decisions, your financial decisions must lead you to your purpose. Nothing in this video is meant to be financial or investment advice or advice of any nature. This is just edutainment. I'm not a financial or investment advisor. These are my opinions, which of course come with my biases. So before making any investment decisions, do your own due diligence and never rely on some guy on the internet, whether it's me or anyone else. But back to assets. What we teach at Purpose Tree is that a home or real estate as your personal residence is a speculative asset. By contrast, real estate for rental is an income-producing asset. See the difference? They're both real estate and they're both assets because both of them provide you with an expectation of future economic benefit. But one puts money in your pocket now and the other one takes money out of your pocket for now anyway. So Robert Kiyosaki calls the one that puts money in your pocket now an asset, but the one that takes money out of your pocket now a liability. But in reality, they're both assets. They're just different types of assets. And this is often the light bulb moment for a lot of our students, so play this back again if you need to. Now, the next question I tend to get is, which should you buy? Income-producing assets or speculative assets? Now, between income-producing assets and speculative assets, I always tell our students that it's much easier and much safer to purchase income-producing assets. And I'll tell you why in a second, but before that, I want to give you a gift. It's a 4-day lifestyle income workshop, and it's an on-demand video workshop, which I want to give to you absolutely free as my gift to you for hanging out with me on this video. I will be learning why passive income has eluded you all these years and what you can do about it, what the wealthiest and most profitable companies use to remain profitable and grow their wealth and income in a risk-managed and sustainable way, and finally, why most stumble when trying to grow their income and wealth and how you can avoid those pitfalls so you can start taking concrete steps to building your income streams and living your purpose instead of going one step forward and 2 steps back all the time. I pull back the curtain on what I do for passive income and I introduce you to some of my favorite passive income streams that I'm using right now. I'm putting money in my pocket even as you're enjoying this episode. All you need to do is to head over to start.purposetree.com/workshop, which is on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube, and in the description of this video or podcast. Just put in your email address and my team will send you the 4 videos right to your inbox. And you can watch it anytime you want. It's fast and it's actionable. So pay attention and take action. Whether you're a beginner who hasn't the faintest idea where to start, or you've got income streams but they're causing you stress and taking all your time so you can't live your purpose, this on-demand workshop series will change your life. It's completely free as my gift to you. Now back to the episode. Now, as I was saying, between income-producing assets and speculative assets, I always tell our students that it's so much easier and safer to purchase income-producing assets. That's because you can value income-producing assets based on its income, and you can't do the same with speculative assets. Now, let's use that earlier example of real estate. One's your home, the other's being rented out, right? So what's your home worth? $50 per square foot? $1,000 per square foot? Maybe $2,000 per square foot maybe? Who's to say? But if you rent it out, then the value becomes much easier to determine. It's a function of how much rent you can get for it. And how much rent you can get from it is determined by the value your tenant ascribes to it, or how much value your tenant can get from that land. And this is easier to see with like retail premises. Okay, so retail space in an urban shopping mall right next to a subway station with high footfall will always cost more than retail space in the middle of the desert, which you have to drive miles to get to. And that's because the shop next to the subway has lots of people going through it. That translates to more sales. The more sales the retail tenant can get from renting the space, the more value he gets, the more he's willing to pay, and the more the landlord can charge for rent. And the more the landlord can charge for rent, the more he's willing to pay to purchase that space. Make sense? Now, even if you don't rent out your home, it's capable of being rented out, and so it's capable of producing income. It's just that you're not using it for that purpose at the moment. So it's not a baseless speculative investment, as long as you value it based on the income it could produce. Now, as I said earlier, I generally tell our students, especially if they're new to investing, to stay away from owning completely speculative assets because it's so much more difficult to value. Now, these days, Robert Kiyosaki seems to favor Bitcoin and gold. And to me, these are speculative assets because there's just no way to value them based on income it can produce. Sure, there are lending schemes, etc. out there, but there's no basis for that income, unlike footfall in a shopping mall or profits from a business. Now, for disclosure, I do from time to time have some exposure to these speculative assets, but I ensure that they're a small portion of my portfolio. And if you're someone who feels you need to have some Bitcoin or gold in your portfolio, then make sure you're like Robert Kiyosaki and you're doing it as part of a larger portfolio where he's got lots of other income-producing assets like real estate, because remember, his own definition of an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, which is an income-producing asset and not a speculative asset. And I keep saying stay away from purely speculative assets, especially if you're not a seasoned investor. Because as we've just seen, speculative assets are very difficult to value accurately, and that makes them subject to things like bubbles. See, once you leave rational valuation behind, anything can be in a bubble. If, like me, you're old enough to remember the dot-com bubble bursting, or the housing crisis of 2008, or even the recent COVID market rally and bust. And if you've lived through it, then you'll know that bubbles are scary things, right? Lots of people have lost lots and lots of money, and lots of people claim to have made lots of money. But have you ever wondered where they all are now? See, when bubbles are forming, a lot of gurus will pop up and tell you to put your money there, that it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to make tons of money. And if you've lived through a couple of bubbles, you'll have seen this for yourself. And bubbles are evil. I've personally witnessed someone jump to his death during the 2008 housing crisis. I mean, I didn't see his body falling, but I was buying a coffee, and there was a crashing and thud, and there his body was. Bubbles are evil. They cause devastation. Think what that poor man must have gone through before he decided that jumping out of a hotel room to his death was the best solution for him. Think of what his family must still be going through today. And I'm sharing this and making this video and reviving this YouTube channel because I don't want to ever see that happen to anyone ever again. Now imagine the pain. Now, have you ever been caught in any of those bubbles? Let me know in the comments. Also, we found that our most successful students journal, and writing down what you've just learned, that amplifies the learning. So if you've learned anything today, hit that like button so this message can reach a lot more people, and subscribe and journal what you've just learned in the comments below. Now, all of these bubbles were caused by the same thing. Speculative assets where the price departed from the value of the assets. In the dot-com bubble, anything with a .com at the end of the name were given valuations that had no basis on the amount of income that the business made. Same with the housing crisis. Same with the COVID rally where anything associated with work from home boomed. When Guru said, buy Zoom, or worse, buy a call option on Zoom when it was nearly at $500. That was just October 2020. Then the market crashed and a lot of people lost lots and lots of money. As this episode's being recorded, the markets have recovered and even gone back to all-time highs. Zoom is still trading at around $60. While Zoom might be profitable now and arguably income producing, at the time of the bubble it wasn't income producing. And as a speculative asset was hyped up and the price went way beyond its value because, as we said, speculative assets are hard to value. So how do you avoid getting caught in a bubble? First, you make sure that your assets are able to produce income and that you buy them at a valuation that's not too far from its ability to produce income. So if you know an asset can produce $1,000 of income a year, and you invest when the price reflects its ability to earn that much, you'll not get caught in an asset bubble. The bubble happens when companies might not even be profitable, but there's a growth story around it that completely hypes it up. Like the work from home stocks or the .coms, or that financial system's going to collapse, so put everything in Bitcoin. Right? Bubbles are based on stories, not value. Stories that are told by an early entrant to lure others in so that they can make money. In many respects, bubbles are not that different from a Ponzi scheme. Now, instead of listening to the stories, and a lot of these stories may be hyped up by the media because these stories get attention, you need to know the value and then buy below the value. You can still make a lot of money. And you can do that without taking the crazy risk of buying into bubbles. In fact, we teach our students that they should only buy good assets and do it when the price is below its value. I can hear some of you groaning. How can we ever make money if we keep buying just these safe assets? Now, since we're talking about Zoom, I'll give you another example. Facebook. It traded up to over $380 during the COVID boom. And then it went down to below $100. And I give you this example because Facebook's share price fall isn't that far from Zoom's. The difference is that Facebook's a profitable company. Its value was conservatively around $300. I own Facebook shares anyway because I advertise on Facebook. One of the things I like to do is to buy assets that I personally use. Now, when Facebook went that far below valuation, below $100, the media is saying it's the end of Facebook because that's a good story. But it wasn't. Now, whatever people say, whatever the story is, Facebook was income producing. And so we can tell its value. See, Facebook is back to over $380. And if you, like some of those in our community, had bought Facebook below $100, you'll have made as much money from a safe asset that's income producing as speculating in a business like Zoom, but without much of the risk. Now, don't go rushing to buy Facebook shares, okay? Because analysts that we follow put their value below or at around its current price. And what did I just say earlier? That we should only buy good assets and buy them when its price is below its value. So what is a good asset? Well, we teach our students that they should purchase assets that have a proven increase in value, because as the value goes up, the price will trend up with its value. So you benefit from the asset appreciation as well as having bought below its value. Now, the biggest asset mistake one can possibly make is not getting an understanding of assets. Now, when you don't understand assets, you'll fear. You'll fear not knowing what a good asset is and end up not buying any assets at all. You'll also fear missing out and then listen to all the hype around the bubble and buy bad assets. And bad assets can wipe you out. Conversely, good assets can make you wealthy and even turn you from being a victim of inflation to benefiting from inflation. So buy good assets which generate income. Buy good assets when the price is below value, and buy good assets that have an increasing income and hence increasing value. And if any one of those criteria aren't met, we generally tell our students not to invest because unless they check all the boxes, it's likely not a good investment. It'll likely not give you the returns, or worse, might cause you to lose money. And it certainly won't give you peace of mind and will even cause you stress. And beyond not having investments that cause you stress, once you understand assets, the assets you accumulate can align with your purpose and further it, giving you ownership that you're proud of and income that's fulfilling. And that's what Purpose 3 is all about. And since this is a Robert Kiyosaki series and we asked the question earlier about what he might say about investing in your home, well, applying what you've learned today, I'd imagine that he might say that your home isn't the first thing that you want to invest in. Because depending on where you live, your home's value might not go up as quickly as other assets. And it certainly won't put money in your pocket right now as compared to other assets that might put money in your pocket without needing you to sell the roof over your head. If you'd like to learn how to start putting money in your pocket on autopilot using another one of Robert Kiyosaki's often misunderstood lessons, then you need to watch this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe and watch this playlist to learn how you can create multiple fulfilling income streams using your purpose instead of mastery so that you can live a purposeful, meaningful life.